An unknown author once said, "One of the wonderful things about observation is that what you miss today, you will get it tomorrow." This is a video presenting a toolkit for classroom observations for teachers, created by Kellyanne Lane, Agent Empress Owen, Cheyenne Bate, Agent The Fancy One, and myself, Leonis Francis, Agent Binoculus.
In recent times, there has been a shift in how teachers carry out effective classroom observation assessments to provide quality education and learning. It has been necessary for teachers to possess the skills to perform developmentally appropriate assessments through regular classroom observations. Classroom observations have been found to be particularly powerful tools for obtaining information on instructional practices and the teacher-child relationship. The National Association of Education for Young Children emphasizes the need for age-appropriate methods and tools during observations to ensure reliability and validity when observing young children. In this project, we will carefully identify and design a toolkit for classroom observations, specifically for early childhood educators and parents. A toolkit is defined as a collection of
With classroom observation, teachers must possess the skills to look, listen, record, and be objective when observing their students. Teachers should use a variety of methods which require the most appropriate tools to effectively monitor the development of young children over a period of time. For observation to be successful and yield valid results as it relates to students' learning outcomes, information must be gathered and recorded in a systematic way. To do so, teachers must be prepared to have a sound vision about what they want to achieve. Every aspect of observation does not necessarily have to be anticipated, but the approach must be deliberate. Teachers must have knowledge of the expected learning outcomes as well as how the information is to be recorded. Good records equate to an effective assessment. With that said, even though observation is an important assessment technique, it is not one that is widely used by teachers. Many have even argued that teachers are incapable of producing valid, reliable results from observations, especially when students are in a natural classroom setting. This toolkit acts as a catalyst and a guide for teachers on how to effectively use observation as an assessment instrument.
Using the tools designed in this toolkit, teachers would be able to identify tools that would enable them to effectively plan and implement classroom observations. 2. They will be able to recognize at least 4 benefits of using the observational tools in assessing young children. And 3. Assess students' developmental progress in their daily classroom instructions using the 4 selectively designed tools.
The list of items found in this toolkit include 1. Anecdotal record. This is written like a short story to record a significant event or aspect of behavior, so each anecdote must have a beginning, middle, and end. Anecdotal records are written in past tense, which are after the fact, and the observer must be positive, objective, and use descriptive language when making observations. 2. Checklist. This is an assessment tool that delineates specific criteria, for example, skills, attitudes, or behaviors, which educators use to gauge students' development and progress. 3. Time sampling. This is used to observe behavior or events that occur frequently. It is done in intervals, for example, every 5, 10, or 15 minutes, where the observer records specific behaviors or events for 1 minute at the start of each interval. 4. Event sampling. This is also used to observe specific behaviors or events, but it is used to determine how often a particular behavior or event occurs. 5. Running record. The running record involves continuous observation of a particular behavior over a period of time. The observer records what the student says or does for a given length of time or activity. 6. Portfolio, which is a collection of a child's work samples to show developmental growth and learning performance, and the teacher's observation notes over a period of time. And now we would further discuss 4 selectively designed tools.
First, we have a portfolio.
The portfolio. A portfolio can be created by the child and or the teacher as a self-assessment tool, and it can be manual or digital. Teachers and parents can use the portfolio to monitor how well the child is doing. When creating a child's portfolio, decide on the purpose. Determine the specific skills you would like to document and keep track of. Then the content. Decide on what will be included. Writing samples, numeracy samples, language development samples, science and social skills work samples, and the teacher's observation notes. Finally, you will have to look at the process. Begin to collect the work samples, choose the different pieces, and decide how it will be organized. To create a portfolio, you will need to use a 3-roll binder if it's going to be manual, or a laptop or computer if it's going to be digital. You will need a cover page with the child's picture, the child's age, and the child's grade. Also, you will need labels for the binder. You need dividers to distinguish the developmental areas you are showcasing. You will also need the work samples with notes, and also parents and teachers' notes can be included. How to use the portfolio. Portfolios are used to promote and develop skills. It is authentic and is based on what the children are capable of doing. After observing the child in the classroom or home environment, you collect various samples of the child's work when it is finished and you place it in the correct section of the binder. These can be assessed by intervals, whether weekly, monthly, or at the end of a school year. Portfolios are also used to develop collaborative partnership between the teacher, student, and the parent. Teachers and parents can build positive relationships for the benefit of the child through effective communications as they discuss the items in the binder or the portfolio. They are also used to inform instructions and give formative feedback to children and families on the work of the students. Parents and teachers will have a clear picture of the strengths and weaknesses of the child and can plan on effective strategies and activities that will help him or her to achieve the necessary standards.
The second tool is an anecdotal record.
In creating an anecdotal record, a clipboard and paper or sticky notes can be used for taking notes while the child is completing the activity. A video camera can also be used to record the activity. However, ensure that permission is given from both the parents and the principal. A binder is needed to store the anecdotal records on each student. In completing the anecdotal record after the activity, use an anecdotal record form for guidance. This would contain essential aspects such as the name of the observer, the name of the child, date, name of the school, time, setting, and focus of the observation, which must be included on each anecdotal record. How to use an anecdotal record. First, you must plan ahead. Identify which area of development you want to observe. 2. Observe the child during different activities, and you can take short notes while you're doing this. 3. On the anecdotal form, include the date, time, name of the school, name of the observer, name of the child, setting and focus of the observation. 4. Write a short, detailed, and objective description of what was seen or heard. 5. Using your knowledge of early childhood development, analyze and interpret what was recorded to determine whether learning objectives have been met. And 6. Use the information for future instructional planning to improve teaching and learning.
The third tool is a checklist. The checklist included in this toolkit was designed with a variety of behaviors. It follows the principles of Watham, who postulated that checklists are best suited when there is a number of behaviors to be observed. This checklist was designed to use at the end of the week in a preschool setting. It assesses the observable behaviors of a 4-year-old in every domain of his development. This includes his age-expected behavior in his cognitive, physical, language, and emotional domains. For example, at the age of 4, as part of Sam's fine motor skills, he is expected to hold a pencil using a writing hold. As such, this is one of the behaviors expected from Sam, which will be observed. It gives teachers a clear vision of the attainment of the child and the specific time in which the child achieves such milestones. Of course, in creating a checklist, one must first consider the age of the child and his or her expected behavior or milestone, or the specific behaviors in which you would want to observe. This should be advised by experts in the field of early childhood. It is imperative to note that having a very good knowledge base about the behavior of the child helps greatly in the creation of the checklist. After you would have created your checklist, you need a pencil to mark it and a folder to store it. For ease of access, the folder can be stored in a pocket at the child's desk. The fourth tool is time sampling.
Time sampling. What do you need to create a time sample? You need a stopwatch to keep you informed of the beginning and end of each interval, and you need a pencil for recording your notes. A time sample form can be used for your final recording as it contains essential aspects which must be included in documentation. These include the name of the child, the age of the child, the time of the observation, frequency of the observation, aim and objective, as well as a brief description of the child. There is also a place to enter the time of each recording as well as the actual observation that occurred. On it, you will also find an area for evaluation and recommendations. How to use time sampling. For an illustration on how time sampling is used, please view the upcoming video. In the video, the teacher records a group of students taking part in an activity. The recording is done for a period of 2 hours and at 5-second intervals.
Students are working on cursive, and I am going to watch them and then record. First, I watched for 5 seconds. Now I'm going to record. He did well. Woo! Now I'm going to my next student. Watching for 5 seconds, coming back and recording for a little bit. On to my next student. Coming back and writing notes. Coming to my next student. Coming back and writing some more notes. Now my last student. This is continuing for 2 hours back and forth, which is an example of time sampling.
Justification for the inclusion of the 4 chosen items. Portfolios, anecdotal records, checklist, and time sampling are critical tools in the observation of young children. These tools are used because they are easier and more appropriate for the early childhood setting. Portfolios are very useful for tracking how well the child is doing. Teachers and parents can use portfolios to show the progress of the child's developmental growth. It is also used for showcasing the child's strengths and weaknesses over a period of time. It shows the child's work in stages with feedbacks from the teacher and showcases the creativity of the child in terms of knowledge, skills, and ability. It is also very useful for assessing teachers' level of performance, as teachers collect the evidence from the child's work and compile it in the portfolio. They can also assess their performance of whether or not they are meeting the necessary standards. Why use anecdotal records? Anecdotal records are easy to use and it takes very little time to write. Hence, it is the most used method of recording observations in the classroom. They allow educators to qualitatively record information, and this information can be used to assist in planning activities, implementing meaningful experiences for students, and implementing intervention strategies for struggling students. Checklists. The information gained from the checklists is used to provide feedback to parents and make curriculum changes. Using this checklist, the parents are given a clear picture of the milestone that the child has achieved and what is in progress. One of the major purposes of including this checklist is because it is easy to use and understand. It does not require tedious writing. Rather, it uses a check or a mark. Additionally, using this checklist provides a balanced approach to assessment where all areas of the child development are being evaluated. And finally, time sampling. This provides an estimate of the number of times a specific behavior occurs rather than recording every time the child displays the behavior. It is easy to use in the class because it is adaptable for use in different settings and activities. And it also assists teachers in reducing inappropriate behaviors.
Early childhood educators are tasked with learning how to accurately and objectively observe children's experiences in school. As such, assessing young children using observational methods is imperative. It gives teachers an opportunity to precisely assess students' developmental attainment. To facilitate this process, teachers must use aptly suited tools. It is expertly advised that teachers use a variety of tools rather than a single tool, since each tool has its distinct benefits. Consequently, careful considerations must be given when choosing the tools to know which tool is most appropriate for the context in which the assessment is undertaken. You have come to the end of our video. Thanks for watching.